Roll along here on the Mike Gallagher Show. Donald Trump on our guest line. Mr. Trump, great having you back on the program. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing really good, Mike. Thanks.
Yes, although I don't think you're doing as well as you think you are, I see today that the Washington Post has launched an official investigation as to whether or not you cheat at golf. I guess it's all over for you, Mr. Trump.
Oh, is that right? No, have they done that? That's terrible.
Yeah, that's the headline.
Terrible.
I'm not kidding you. The literal headline, Does Donald Trump Cheat at Golf? A Washington Post investigation. Now, it's sort of playful, and they concede that Bill Clinton cheats at golf, but it really does seem to be fascinating to watch the media figure out this Donald Trump juggernaut.
It's amazing. I mean, it's a terrible headline because I actually do not cheat at golf. That's a terrible thing, but that's the way they do it, I guess. You know, it's at least they put it in a question mark, right?
Right.
Boy, oh boy.
Right. It's just it seems to be like there's no but nothing seems to be sticking. Nothing is taking you down. It seems like the more criticism you get, the more you go up in the polls. You seem to have a very consistent rule. If somebody hits you, you hit him back harder. Jeb Bush in particular doesn't seem to be playing along with that rule.
Well, he's a little bit tired. You know, it's interesting. A poll just came out. They just put it in front of my desk. 30.7% versus 12.1 for Carson, 8 for Bush, 6.2 for Rubio, and wow, that's a good point. They just put that down on my desk as I'm speaking to you, so I might as well. See, I only read it if it's good. If it's bad, I wouldn't do that. You know that, right?
But it is true, though. Doesn't it seem to be? I mean, everything, you're the proverbial guy that keeps coming out smelling like roses. It seems like every fight you pick, a lot of people side with you over the battles. Every criticism, every dopey Washington Post golf game story seems to add to your popularity right now, right?
Well, you know, it's very interesting. A couple of these folks came after me. Lindsey Graham came after me. He was at 2%, and he went down to nothing. And then Perry came after me from Texas, a very big league, and then Rand Paul. And everybody's gone down. That's a great tribute. I mean, I love my people, and that's a great tribute. But the harder they hit me, they seem to go down. That's what you're alluding to. And Rand Paul just went down. He's less than 2% now. I don't know what happened to him, but he hit me hard about a week ago, and I said, wow, that's something. Now, of course, I hit back, so, you know, we have to remember that, Mike. But it is interesting. So let's see what happens to Jeb Bush. Maybe he'll do better than they did.
Well, he suggests that you're not, he said, I think he actually said it in Spanish, that you're no conservative or you're not advancing conservatives. What do you say to people who are concerned about the advancing conservative values issue involving Donald Trump?
Well, you know, first of all, he shouldn't be speaking Spanish. We're in this country. This is supposed to be a English-speaking country, and he shouldn't be speaking in Spanish. That's part of the problem we have. People don't have to learn English anymore. So, you know, it's sort of an interesting little tidbit. But somebody brought that up the other day, and I said, you know, you're right about that when you get right down to it. But he should be speaking English, and I'm very conservative. You know, it's very interesting. Ronald Reagan was a Democrat, really with a liberal bent. He was a liberal-leaning Democrat, and now he, as you know, he became not really conservative, not very conservative, but pretty conservative, and an amazing president and a great guy. And you evolve, and somehow I notice friends of mine, very few of them go the other way. They tend to get more conservative with age, and that's what's happened to me. And I think people understand that, and they see it. You know, it's interesting. He did that little commercial, and it looked like I was 12 years old. I was pretty old. I was pretty young when I did that, when I did those shots. That was young. But a lot of the things that they ask, you know, they take these little tiny snippets, a few words, and they don't show what's on the other side of those words, which is a little bit disconcerting, but that's okay. But I don't think anybody's buying it, frankly.
It does seem peculiar that a lot of people are willing to accept, for example, President Obama evolving or transforming on issues, and yet, you know, in your case, that's not allowed, or it doesn't happen that way.
Well, they have actually accepted me. I mean, it's been very interesting because the stuff he brought up is all old stuff. It's been played for a long time, and you know, you see the age of Donald Trump when they did some of those shots. That was a long time ago. I wish I looked like that today, to be honest. But one of those little problems in life. But it seems to be having no impact, all of that, together. But we'll see what happens.
Let's talk issues for a moment in terms of foreign policy. This week I participated in a rally in front of Kirsten Gillibrand's office protesting this Iranian nuclear deal.
Terrible.
By about 2-1, 3-1 Americans rejected, and yet this week Barbara Mikulski indicated she will vote in favor of this, giving President Obama the votes he needs. It seems like a dreadful deal. What does a President Trump do about Iran?
It is a terrible deal. It's one of the dumbest deals I've ever seen. It's one of the worst negotiated deals I've ever seen, regardless of almost anything. And despite the importance of the deal itself, it is so incompetently done when you have the 24-day waiting period, where we actually have to protect them against Israel, if you look. I mean, I don't know if you know that, but there's a clause in there that we will protect them if they're attacked. And I said, what happens if Israel attacks them? And other people are saying that, too, and they can't give you an answer. Right. Basically, you're supposed to protect them. Don't worry about that. That won't happen in terms of Trump. But they have an agreement that's so bad. And of course, we don't have our prisoners. I just put out a little bit of a clip that I think you're going to find interesting about the prisoners. We have 4 prisoners over there. We don't even get the prisoners out of it.
It wasn't even on the table to get.
No, they don't even ask. They said we don't want to ask because we don't want to complicate the deal. We didn't talk about Yemen. We didn't talk about anything. These people are incompetent. It's just like gross incompetence. So you watch what I do will be something that people will be very happy about, but it is a disgrace that a thing like that. It looks like it's going to pass. It's not much anybody's going to do about it because he's got everything's overridden and it's going to pass. It's very sad.
You mentioned the incompetency issue. That people call my show, email me, tweet, and they say what makes Trump different is everything he's touched, he's been so successful at. You can't dispute the success in the business world he's had. That does seem to be what draws a lot of people to you in terms of the track record you've established in your life.
Well, I think that's right. I mean, I've built up a tremendous net worth, and don't forget, when I originally did this, a lot of people said, "Oh, he'll never file those papers." I filed almost 100 pages worth of papers. Nobody's even close, and that's never happened before with the elections, federal elections. And I filed this. It's an incredible company, very low debt, over a $10 billion net worth, and I built that, and I want to use the same brain power, whatever that brain power may be, but I want to use that power to make our country rich again and then great again. We have to. It sounds a little bit bad to say rich because people say, "Oh, rich," but without the rich, we can't be great again. We're a debtor nation, and we owe $19 trillion. It's up to about 19 now. We can start saying 19 from 18, and it builds up actually very fast. And they have to have somebody like me. I know the people that we're talking about, and believe me, they will not know what to do because this country is in big trouble.
Well, we used to celebrate financial success. We used to celebrate people who were good in business and finance. We still celebrate entertainers and celebrities and TV stars and movie stars who are wealthy. But for some reason in the business world, we've demonized CEOs and successful captains of industry.
Well, I think I must tell you, maybe you're seeing that turnaround because my poll numbers now are so high, and I think they do respect what I've done. And, it's been in real estate, not on the Internet where, you come up with a site and all of a sudden you pick up $1 billion or something. This is done the old-fashioned way. This is real estate. And, you do more than $10 billion in net worth, and you do all of these things, and you need that kind of thinking. As an example, I have Carl Icahn, who's a great negotiator lined up. I've got some of the best negotiators in the world because we have to redo our trade deals. We're going to probably end up doing our deal with Iran if I get in. I think it's a disgrace. I think it's so hard to believe. It's like I mentioned Sergeant Bergdahl. He was a traitor, and in order to get him back, we gave them 5 people that they most wanted. And by the way, 5 people were killed. Actually, 6 people now were killed trying to go for Bergdahl and trying to get Bergdahl. 6 people killed. So we get a traitor, and they get 5 killers that they've wanted for 10 years. So that's the way we negotiate. We have a country that doesn't know what they're doing.
Back here, speaking of our country, there's this debate about police lives, Black Lives Matter, White Lives Matter. I've been raising money today selling T-shirts that say Police Lives Matter to benefit the families. We're helping the families of police officers killed in the line of duty, and my foundation has raised a couple $1 million for hundreds of families because
great.
But people are so generous and want to help these hero families. This has been become this Black Lives Matter movement has become become pretty disgraceful with the chants of pigs in a blanket and what do we want, dead cops, and none of the leaders of the Black Lives Matter.
It's incredible.
They're not condemning those chants.
Right. How about when your very brave senator made the mistake, in his opinion, of saying white lives matter and all lives matter, and they made him apologize. Okay?
And he apologized for that.
Can you believe that?
That's fascinating
the whole
to
thing.
me. This is the Martin O'Malley apologizing for saying all lives matter. But you, of course, have assured people in terms of your strong support for law enforcement.
Total.
You know, and these guys are out there.
I'll bet you I'm close to 100% in polling with police. They have to give the power. Now, you can always have some bad apples, and that happens in any industry, and it's a tiny, tiny percentage. But the police have done a great job. Now they're afraid. They are afraid to even talk to people anymore. They don't want to lose their job. They don't want to lose their house and their family and their pension and everything else. It is so sad what's happening. And look at the violence all over the country now. It's getting worse than ever.
Sure. In closing, we know how busy you are, and we appreciate every time you have a chance to visit with us. The debate coming up on CNN, very important. You sort of were self-deprecating on the first debate, saying, hey, this is new to me. I've never debated before. The debate is really a crucial place for Donald Trump to deliver his message, isn't it?
It is, and I was really happy with the last one, other than I thought the questions were, a little bit unfair, but these are minor details. And Time Magazine and Drudge and all of them, they gave me great ratings on the debate. I won the debate, according to them. They did a poll right after the debate, so I was happy with that. And I think we'll do fine this time. It's going to be at the Reagan Library, and I look forward to it. It's 2 weeks, and it'll be very interesting. And as you know, I'll have the number one position because even if I fell off a table right now, I'll have the number one position, right? If I put some goose eggs up there, I'll still have the number one position.
It feels like there's not a lot you can do to get knocked off your number one perch. And Republicans, leading Republicans are now, it seems to me, careful. I interviewed Haley Barbour this week, the former governor of Mississippi. He didn't say one negative thing about you.
That's good. That's good.
But that's smart, isn't it? Yeah. Again, what good does it do, it seems, to bash and attack and get into that circular firing squad? Let's look at issues and let's look at what all the candidates are about and what they represent.
Much better, I agree, especially since we have a big foe. It could be Hillary. It might be somebody else. I don't know. I'm looking at this email situation today, and it looks very bad for her, actually. And
it seems to get worse.
It is a very bad situation, and I think anybody else would have been out of the campaign a long time ago, frankly.
Would you relish going up against a Joe Biden rather than Hillary Clinton?
Whoever's there. I mean, honestly, whoever's there, I'm going to handle, and we're going to win. It's not going to be like last time. This time we're going to win. And people have a thirst for winning, and the country has a thirst for winning. We don't win anything. We don't win trade deals. We don't win military deals. We don't win anything. We're going to win a lot.
Mr. Trump, I very much appreciate your time. Good luck to you on the campaign trail. Thanks for joining us.
And I'll see you out there. Thanks a lot.
I'm looking forward to it. Thanks a million. The real Donald Trump here on the Mike Gallagher.